Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series. We will be starting session couple of in a minute. Good evening, one and all. We welcome you to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2022, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence. In collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute and Center for Art, Sciences and Wellbeing. So before we start our session, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, yeah, with the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue to today's session. Actually, there is some celebration going on nearby, so there might be some disturbance in and around. That's why we started late, but it's okay. We'll see. Okay, today, um, as such, there is no important commemoration day as usually we were doing. So we will take up social work this week. Entire week is celebrated as National Social Work Week. Uh, Especially we have in every country, it is different based on their local preferences and significance of celebrating social work. And even we have social work day and also social work week. And recently, I mean, 3 years back, NAPSFI has given a call to celebrate social work week from August 14 to August 21st, that is entire week. So we thought we'll have also commemoration, but we were busy till yesterday with this Independence Day celebrations and all. And thank you everyone with all your support and wishes and participation. We could fix almost as part of these celebrations, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations. We were doing from past 6 months continuously, almost daily. So it's everyone's achievement together. I'm just coordinating the entire things. Otherwise, we all are together. And thanks everyone for joining us and supporting us. So maybe one more proposal also we have put because daily is becoming difficult for us also. Uh, so we thought instead of having daily sessions, we thought we will have one Sunday so that you are also daily joining, and this is very prime time even for everyone. So 6 to 9, it's almost we are having so many engagements, and this month is also very busy in terms of admissions, examinations, and other academic work also. So we thought we will focus on that. Along with this, we will try to continue. Otherwise, also weekly will be there. So we will try to accommodate all the week speakers on Sunday, so that we will not miss any session. No, we will continue to have some solid good hours. Even if we want, we will start as early as possible, and we can continue. I mean, total we are having 7 hours, 7 days, 7 hours. We are designating knowledge minimum. So there also we can have something like that, where 7 to 10 hours or something like Otherwise also we can have very good thing. Or at least we will try to cover half an hour each, and we try to accommodate all the speakers. Seven speakers on that day, and 7 speakers maybe for each day, or something like 14 speakers or something like that on Sunday. we'll see how we can do so that everyone gets opportunity. The prime reason is many are willing to come forward. Okay. So we will also try to accommodate so that Sunday is more convenient for everyone so that we can have daily other course and Sunday exclusively we can join for this. So that is one proposal has come today. So we'll see. Let's look at how feasible it is. And other thing is like some of the speakers are busy on Sunday because that is the only day we all get for our family. No, we'll see how it is going to roll out. Just for information, so that you are regularly joining us. Wanted to share with you so that you can also give feedback through chat box or through messages. How we can go ahead about it because we all are going together. So I thought we'll share with you and accordingly if I get some suggestions or anything which can be implemented, we'll definitely look into that. That is one aspect. And basically, I would like to congratulate and thank every one of you being part of these celebrations. And as mentioned earlier, we'll continue these sessions because Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav is 75 weeks. So till next August 2023, this Azadi ka Amrit celebrations are going on. So we'll continue to do and try to accommodate at least a speaker per day, a session per day. That we'll see whether we can do it daily or we can accommodate all them on Saturdays and Sundays or something like that. We'll plan. If not daily, that we will communicate. As of now, this daily series will also continue. See if any changes required or if any accommodation can be done. You can share your thoughts on this through in WhatsApp or even in chat box here. If something is strikes your mind, that is one aspect. So another one is yeah, we are also planning one more session because this is the 76th Independence Day. In fact, 75th anniversary, Independence anniversary. I think this is also a lot of confusion among that which has been created widely. Even when we are sharing also, some say 75th, some say 76th. So actually when we got independence, that is considered as Independence Day. Maybe there might be difference of opinion. So that is, when we calculate that was the first Independence Day. So when we got independence, when we see based on it's like a birthday, if we see that is then it will be 76th Independence Day. If we count anniversary, like if we take after 1 year of independence, that is if we are not celebrating the moment which we got independence or we are starting from next year, then it will be 75th. So that is a confusion. But anyway, in anything, both are correct only. But one is anniversary and one is Independence Day. Only that is a difference. That 75 or 76, whatever it is. I mean, both are being used. But this is as far as if I am not wrong and subject to correction, we are having 76th Independence Day, and so we thought the yesterday's session was very good. In fact, we regret that we couldn't give time because within 24 hours we hardly have 9 or 10 hours daytime, and we need to accommodate all the speakers. And really, every speaker has patiently come joined delivered session. Everyone appreciated. Really wonderful feedback we got. It having accommodating so many speakers on a single day, it was like even for us also it was very difficult to give a schedule also, because in spite of we had a rough schedule, there is always, someone joining earlier, someone joining after, and because that was a very short time, half an hour, like that we can manage. But even a minute to minute schedule is very difficult. Every minute to change the speaker, there might be some technical problems in between, and some may not. Many of us are not comfortable. Whatever we observed in operating these platforms, or going through what I mean, we were discussed. We were getting queries where to how to operate and where to look for, and all these things that conveys that we are not so comfortable and we are not aware of this technology and how to go about using this technology. And even if we don't know how exactly effective to use technology to extent. So these challenges are also sometimes concerns that take some time. So with this all, we planned that okay, we will accommodate as and when the speakers join, and somehow there was little bit waiting time, but everyone has patiently, has been there. And don't worry, whoever has not filled the feedback form, uh, just in case if you have missed it also, no issue. But one request, I know many are not here, but uh, whoever has attended, and we are anyway going to send an email to all the registered participants. But those who have joined and couldn't register or couldn't fill the feedback form, uh, so we will not be having them data, because some of the speakers have joined then and there when we invited uh, the existing speakers to invite if someone is there. So that data miss that some of the data is missing. So it might delay the issue of certificates, because we issue certificates all at once. So maybe we'll see how we need to just get the data who all presented. So once that is all data is procured, we have conveyed message to all the speakers. And anyway, now also we, for regular speakers, for new speakers, we have already conveyed it. For regular speakers, to, today, tomorrow, we are going to send an email also. So if anyone has invited, I take this opportunity to join yesterday's conference without any details. So kindly request them to share their details along with all the formalities. If they can complete formalities, we can all together issue the speakers and the participant certificates very soon. So there will be a delay for 2-3 days for this August till July 31st. We have issued all the certificates. From August it is pending, and 2-3 days there will be delay. So kindly bear with us, and then we will process after 2 days. There is will process in this week, so that you will get by weekend, by Sunday's conference. You will get the first week certificates all. Okay. So that is so we are planning next event with what we thought is to have 76 speakers, because this is the 76th Independence Day. What we thought is we will have one more event, because everyone appreciated it, and so it was very short notice. So we couldn't even schedule, even if it was scheduling also, sometimes this happens. But anyway, we'll try to schedule the speakers so that the speakers can also join and present, and also participants can also enjoy. So what we are planning is in this most probably Saturday or Sunday before this month, because this entire month is Independence Month. For that matter, entire year also we can celebrate. We are planning maybe this Sunday's already 2 conferences we have notified. So either we will continue with that conference or we will replace that conference with this uh, conference. It depends on the speakers. We haven't yet officially announced that, but just sharing a thought with you. So we'll be notifying maybe because these 2 days we are very much occupied. So tomorrow or day after tomorrow we'll notify that, and whoever is interested to present. And this will also one more memorable event. So we will have a very good presentation. At same time limit goes may come down 3 to 5 minutes or something because to accommodate 1 hour. If we even give 5 minutes also per hour, we can only accommodate 12 speakers. So in that sense also, if we have to cover around 76 speakers, then it will take at least no, 6 to 8, at least 7 to 8 hours minimum, uh, along with the breaks for announcement, and this all will extend another 1 2 hours also sometimes. So we solidly need at least 8 9 hours. Yesterday also till 9 9:30 we were there, I think. So it will take some time. So let all restrict to timings on that day and quickly let everyone complete. So I think 10 seconds ad can create lot of impact. We see televisions and radio how much because time. So I think three when compared to that 3 minutes or 5 minutes can also create how many ads we can make, how much impact we can create. So we have to find ways, innovative ways to present our concept in a very simple and effective manner on that day, especially. Other days, anyway, we have good amount of time, so we can come up with a good concept. You can share your inputs, thoughts. This is in the conception stage, but as of now, we all are like a family. So I thought now we all are traveling together since 6 months. I thought we would share with you so that you can also come with inputs and you can also contribute to this cause and invite speakers and participants. Sorry. So with this brief thought, we shall continue to today's session. Yeah. So this week, as already informed, this week is celebrated as Social Work Week. And what is social work in the very first place? Social work and social service. I'm not taking up session as per, I mean, academically, just this is general discussion. Uh, so I will not be so particular in giving exact definitions or exact as in books. This is generally we are talking so that we'll have an interactive action also. So you can just after this you can also share. Basically, often before starting what exactly is social work, let's see. Let's discuss. In fact, because this entire week is there, we will try to get social work professionals or academicians from tomorrow onwards. We'll see. Today, let's have some interactive sessions, if possible. I mean, you can unmute yourself and you can say what do you think when you hear social work? Who might be the social workers and what they might be doing? So many people often we see in the society, they call themselves as social workers. So who are these social workers? Does they need any qualification? And who is supposed to be called as social worker? Can anyone call themselves as a social worker? So what is the general public opinion when we tell that I am a social worker, or when we hear that he or she is a social worker? So you can unmute yourself and share. Feel free to share. This is general today. Open forum for this day, at least for some time. I will continue. Mary ma'am or Virendra Kumar ji or anyone, Panduranga ji, you have very list quorum, but
Actually, no, sir. According to me, social work is you do work, but you should not expect anything like other jobs. Now, if you put 1 rupee or 2 rupees, you'll get 4 rupees, like in MBA, business, or MCA and all. But here we are doing for the service motive, so we should do our hard work and not expect anything. That's what I've learned in my 2 years MSW. You're more of a giving person than a receiving person.
okay, that's a good. Like I am today not talking as a professional social worker. I am talking like a common man. I am conducting this session as a common man, so that I also don't know.
No, sir. Actually, no, sir. When you do service, before I entered MSW, I love to help people. Whatever, not that time I don't have money, but whatever I know, I will tell. But if when I help anybody, I will feel very happy. That day will go very well. Whatever I think it will happen after that incident happened, then that night also I will get good sleep. Oh, today we have done something. But more than other do for me, I do something, I get self-satisfaction. That is one thing. Before I did my master's in social work, that's what I learned. When you help somebody, you are self-satisfied, you feel very happy. I don't know how others have felt. I feel very happy when I help somebody. Even with a small one phone number, one contact also, I feel happy. Oh, today I have done justice to somebody. So not as a professional, but as a person, I'm telling so. That's what I feel.
Yeah,
Because,
very well said. Like this is
and when we do to God, we do service to God. We don't expect God to do anything for us. We do out of gratitude. So when we are doing practicing social work, what I learned now, we should be gratitude to the people, to the service, and to the people we are doing. We should not expect anything. We should do it with gratitude and with an open heart, not thinking, not in the selfish mood, but uh, not in the selfish mood, but in the give positive mode, sir. That's what I feel. Because before I was working in medical pastoral NGO when I was in UGPA, I used to go and see psychiatric patients in the NGOs, and that time I was an abnormal psychology student. That time I used to go and speak to them. That speaking only will bring smile in that people. You should sit with people who have problems or sad or something. I always in college also I like to do not to make friends with that first rank student, but I always like to a person who's in who's nobody is caring for, or he needs some help, or he has some challenges. I like to make friends with them. That is my nature, and I don't know, because of that nature I came to this profession. I don't know. That's why, sir. That's why I love my profession. That's
yes.
it.
So this is actually before coming into the profession. What do you think when you first came to know about this social work? Before not knowing about what is social work, what did you think about social work or a social worker?
No, sir. Actually, no. Actually, if in my house now, if anybody we buy anything, when I get anything, I don't immediately think when I got one sweet box from somebody. Immediately I don't feel like eating. I'll go home. I'll like to share with my sister, mother. I always don't keep anything for myself. I like to give and do. And if I get anything, one small gift also, I like to how best I can share with others. That is only, I'm not telling from social point of this, I used to do from small. Then in our Christianity we have this December giving month. So that time I used to go and visit that Mother Teresa's orphanage people, that mental retarded people. I used to spend a whole day with them, what food they cooked, and I used to help in the cooking. And I spent the day and come, and I used to go for that psychiatric center. In my free time, I used to do that and also when I was in the first year, second year B, I used to do that before I came into the CMSW profession. Uh, Generally, I like to mingle with people who have problems. Um, wherever anybody is having problem, if I come to know, I will give the first call. If that person may not be a best friend to me, may not be a close friend, I wouldn't have seen, but I heard someone is going through someone. If I have the best contact, I'll only call up and tell I'll help you. That was my nature, sir, from small. That only led me to here, I think, so.
Okay. So this is what generally this is social service, actually charity or philanthropy, what we call, kindness. Kindness. This kindness we try to help reach people. So even social work started from the concept of charity and philanthropy. But there is a difference between social service and social work. In fact, uh, uh, as a common man, what people think is social work and social service is same, because there, there is no difference what all social service people are doing. Social workers are also doing. But what uh, but most of the time nowadays that reality is not that what social common people are doing, social work people are not doing. This is also one notion. So why such a notion is, you know, for doing any charity or any service, common person, like, if someone is in trouble, or if someone approaches us, or if someone uh, is in help, what we will do generally, uh, we will try to help them in whatever way uh, we can. No, that is very simple. We all keep doing. We all keep doing within our family and within our relatives, within our neighborhood, or within our communities or societies, or for that matter, our known circles, or even sometimes who is also unknown to us. When they approach us, we try to help them as much as possible to the extent so that their requirement is met depending on our capacity. Even if we uh, do not have the capacity to meet, we will try to extend as much as help as possible and try to refer someone also uh, for some more help. This is quite common. It was more common, in fact, rather than now. Now people are, not everyone. Now we have diversity also here. Not everyone is willing to actively come forward, actively, you know, trying to help. Nowadays, after social media has come, for small thing also you need to create a big hype. Otherwise, people, when especially at the time when disaster struck, this lot of uh, photographs, when helping people, as if even we have seen when flood struck, especially Kerala is also continuously facing every year floods, and many parts of the state, or in fact, for that matter, due to climate change, across the world, this flooding is happening. And, when we are offering some aid as a gratitude or as a kindness, and these kind of, uh, uh, like earlier, if you see the original concept of charity or philanthropy, that especially in Hindus, because that was early. Actually, there is no Hinduism like Hinduism or any other religion initially. That came in the middle, and we are not dealing with the topic. But what I am trying to say is, initially, when uh, uh, when human beings existed, it is without any religion, or for that matter, without any identification as such. You know, where people, uh, you know, uh, were trying to help each other even before any religion, even before any uh, identification. People were sharing their thoughts, were sharing their, you know, the kind of welfare programs they were taking up initially. When we see also, even in the books also, in the books of history, or for that matter, in the books of social work also, you see, that date back to even ancient civilizations. When we look at the religions also, we know that maybe now it is named as Hinduism. So Hinduism stands the oldest religion for that matter. As for just for the time reference, it's nothing related to religion. What I mean to say is that ancient period, since ancient period, temples as for that matter, just keep the religious side ahead. Temples were the centers for everything, for cultural education, for economy, trade. Nearby temples, melas used to being organized, on a weekly basis, or on a fortnightly basis, or a monthly basis, or in similar way. Lot of temples were cultural centers where daily programs were organized in the form of bhajans, in the form of performances, and especially at that, the kind of food distribution, Anna Prasadam, or what we call with or Bhog, these were taken up, which were helping the people to, meet their requirements. Those who were not even having food, or temples used to maintain so many these dharamshalas, these satrams, or cottages, whatever names they have locally or regionally. So these all were, maintained even for pedestrians or for travelers, like the present day we have guest house or travelers house. Now, the hotels are everywhere. We have paying guests everywhere. But initially, when, you know, there were no homes, I mean guest houses or something like that. They used to accommodate uh, these people also, along with other guests, in dharamshalas, or similar kind of dwellings which were maintained by temples. Otherwise, also temples used to be very huge in terms of construction, where a, a huge number of people can be accommodated inside as well as outside the temples. Nowadays, yeah, due to space constraints and the cost of lands, they have been very much constricted. The present day temples are very small, but when you see the ancient temples, which were, take, they are in very huge land, and they also have very huge lands also. So this is very essential to maintain itself. The temples have been acting as a source for welfare programs and welfare measures, welfare centers. It has to be sustainable in itself first. So it was getting funds in the form of uh, funds or grants, from the kings and from the rulers and from various philanthropists and like-minded people. They used to get funds from them, and they used to distribute for organizing these melas. Melas, even now, see, for that matter, these festivals provide opportunity for everyone. Some this present day notion is like, why to organize festival or why to celebrate festival is altogether making so many people lose their employment or lose their opportunities for earning. When you see, when a festival is celebrated, what all we require, you see, just for example, take some now see, coming up is Ganesh Chaturthi, Ganesh festival, and Sri Ganesh as a god has been revered in many ways and in many cultures across the world. You see, for that matter, keeping religious aspect aside, but there is one big grand festival. Initially, also when we see that was united by, it was a concept of unity by Balaganga Tilak and other freedom fighters, where to promote unity among everyone, to have something where people can come together and celebrate. It was initiated even before anciently also we had that concept of praying Lord Ganesha. But it has a lot of social significance as well, and you can see how much of investment for that matter, or how much of the kind of trade or economy or commerce along with the religious, along with spiritual, along with these cultural practices take place. You can see how much of employment is generated, how much of opportunities are generated in these days, with 13 days or 15 days. We need everything, this the puja items, what we use for that matter. You need different kinds of leaves, different kinds of fruits, different kinds of materials, to set up a mantap. You need these, whether you use eco-friendly or whether you use other materials like iron, aluminum, or steel, or even for that matter, wood, or something like that. You need uh, those materials, and you need someone who can construct them, and you need someone who can bring them, source them, and we need someone to maintain them, and finally, we need also someone to dispose them. Of course, that can be ourselves only. We also getting some work, and we are also doing that work. No, man hours are generated. I mean to say, some work hours are generated with this process. Not only that, you know, we can see lot of opportunities for this entire season. There are some people, then some thousands of families, for that matter, not thousands, lakhs and lakhs of, you know, families who are entirely dependent on only just these festivals, especially this Durga Puja, this Dashara, and this September, August, September, Sri Ganesh Chaturthi. These both festivals need lot of idols. No, with this present climate change, we can go for eco-friendly. Even if we go for eco-friendly uh, idols also, lot of idols are required. For every home, if we need one idol, even with if it is made by mud also, we need so many artists, with the, say, suppose if we have that 130 population and say at least each family has 3 members or 4 members, how many? We need at least 75 crore. Thinking this is a secular festival and everyone is celebrating, and see the kind of opportunities they are generated with these festivals. You know, we need at least 70 crore idols. That's a very huge employment opportunity for everyone. Mud have to be collected and it has to be transported. So everywhere this mud and soil is available, especially this black cotton soil is used because of this properties which bind clay together. Otherwise also this black cotton soil is very good. So that is used. Those areas where there is limited plantation or these crops, generally cotton soil, black cotton soil is very good for that matter, for certain crops, and very fertile also to certain crops. And it, that land, I mean, even it is available in some parts, and other kind of red soil is also used as a mixture. So these provide local artisans and also laborers. They collect this mud from local areas, especially, generally this soil and mud is available everywhere almost. They collect them. So we need a labor. It can be our also. We are also labor. We are also working. We have a different name, but we are also labor. So we are talking about working hours, man hours here, and the kind of employment that is being generated, irrespective of our profession or trade. So they have to go collect the mud, and they have to bring it, and they have to make idol. For making each idol, small idol is okay. Nowadays we got this molds where you immediately put the mud into that, and that idol is formed. That is different. There are modern technologies also. Even if you put mud, it will automatically, like plastic molding and other kinds of molding. Even we got machines. You just need to feed the mud, and automatically it will give you the mold. So anyway, but that is also very much limited unless and until it's a commercial scale. Most of the idols are made manually, because earlier, not only earlier, nowadays also it is made, but those are very unique. I mean, all have similar forms, but we enjoy diversity because we also enjoy different forms and shapes. We have that liberty, to see God in different form shapes, and you can see, based on one's interest, as I already said, yad bhavam tad bhavati. I mean, you can imagine as thoughts, as a kind of, I mean, the way your thoughts are, the way you can imagine. Or it can be said in different ways, trying to simplify that. How we feel or how we think, depending on that, we can create and celebrate without, uh, you know, uh, spoiling or without damaging the dignity or that kind of respect or holy thing you can have, because especially in Hinduism, because you can have as many as gods. We can say 3 crore gods or 33 gods. Now we also say they also got children. Now it might be 66 gods for that matter. I mean, yeah, a possibility is there generally when we think like common man. As we are also having children, they might be also having children. So, I mean, we imagine the basic concept here is, a lot of literate people, or for that matter, tribal people, for folklore people, they, based on their cultures, there's nothing to discriminate. We all have one or more culture, and we all belong to one Homo sapiens only. But over the time, we had different taste, we have different opinions and beliefs. So slowly we started dividing ourselves based on our interest, nothing more than. We have different, even when we are in same family also, someone will like one curry, someone like brinjal, or someone like palak, someone or something else. So I mean, when the interests are become so strong, what we tend to do? We try to form similar like-minded groups, and then that group with similar interests, similar goals, similar objectives, they try to become a community, and they set their rules and they set their rituals, and that's how so many religions today exist only because of that, because their own ideology of what divine is, or their own ideology of what they might think it is. Because of that only today so many religions are there, no? For that matter, faith system. Like that, so these all provide, irrespective of whatever religion or faith for that matter, they all promote the common good, peace, harmony among everyone. That is the basic principle. We have to help each other. The humanity is ahead, you know, common, and is a universal principle for all these things. So when we are talking about this humanity, so basically helping each other, promoting each other. So here these festivals are promoting, you know, each other, and creating so many opportunities for employment and for happiness, for coming together, for celebrations. This kind of, now mud has to brought, and it needs, if we need some colors also, let's go in a very eco-friendly way. So if mud is used and we need natural colors, we can use flowers, especially flowers. No? We have different color flowers. Through these flowers are dried. Uh, anyway, the flowers are going to dry once they are fully grown. I mean, fully blossomed. They are going to get dried. No, these are collected and they are made into powder. And when they are mixed with water, now we get the colors. We can use the vegetables also to get colors, and we can use many flowers also to get organic flowers. So many of these which can go. Otherwise, also they can be organic fertilizers. But this provides an opportunity for artisans and also other people who can collect these leaves, flowers, and these, especially the waste materials for that matter, or which has been not used. But if we think that it has to be sacred, or for that matter, not used one also, which otherwise also generally get dried away, we can use them, collect them, and we can make them byproducts or value additions, and we can share them, use them for these practices. So in that way, it is creating lot of employment in terms of lot of opportunities, employment for collection, and getting them dried, and getting them powdered, and again packing them, and selling them or distributing them. So the entire distribution channel, you can see, from production to uh, supply to the, from production houses to uh, the household, I mean the end consumer. A lot of distribution chain, a long distribution chain is involved. So these many people of different trades, different jobs has to perform. They used to get a lot of employment opportunities for earning. They, even for them to procure mud, even by hand, small quantity, you have hands. Otherwise, you need to lift large quantities of mud. For that, we need bullock carts or some trolleys, some vehicles. So they are also getting employment for picking up this mud. Some persons are required. So manpower is generated, and for bringing them back to place where these idols are made, they are cleaned, and mud is cleaned, and it is, sometimes also uh, naturally sanitized to see to remove all the impurities. If there is any odor, smell, lot of treatment goes. No one directly uses because it can uh, contain some impurities. Uh, so they are being processed, and the mud along with other, this hay is used, and other sticks are used. Otherwise, if it is a huge thing, sticks, sometimes wooden sticks may not suffice. So barely they try to support it with some iron that is also can be used. It's recycled. It can also be used for next year also, for that matter. Once the tidal is dissolved, they can use the same because that doesn't get spoiled. So in that way, you see how many people are involved and the different artisans involved. Once that is placed, and when once mud is ready, we need artists to make it into a idol. So that requires a lot of people again, artisans. So that gives lot of employment to the artists, that is artwork, who are performing arts. I mean, who are into arts. So they like sculpture. Uh, they get lot of opportunity. They first prepare this bare structure and then put on mud, or otherwise with entire mud they prepare. So lot of employment is generated, and when they come together, when they are making in the houses, no, that's fine. But when they are coming somewhere, and they need some arrangement. So for that, temporary structures has to be raised, and for that we need people. For that, procurement is required, and so and after that, uh, coloring has to be done. And once coloring is done, then the final treatment has to be done. And after the treatment, those are being brought to markets or on to the places where they can be sold. Or most of the nowadays we are directly visiting to the places and bringing them to our homes. For that we need transportation again, and after bringing it, we need a mandap to give. And for that construction of mandap also, we need people, different kind of people who knows them. And after construction, we need decoration. For decoration, we need a different set of people. And also after decoration, we need someone who can perform the rituals, who can understand, like these, people, priests and all. We invite them. So, and we need some people for cooking, making prasadams. That may be ourselves also, but we need someone. So, and for making prasadam, we enjoy making different feasts. Ultimately, we are only the ones who are consuming. So we prepare what all we like. Traditionally, in every festival, there are certain things which has been being carried forward. So what kind of things has to be prepared, and what kind of food offerings has to be prepared. So we have to prepare, and we will distribute also. There is daily bhajans and some cultural activities, which are for that also we need promoting culture. You cannot on that day evolve yourself as a dancer, especially this classical or singers. You cannot evolve in one day, right? So we need to practice, and we need to attain perfection, or at least to some level of expertise. So these festivals provide an opportunity also, to showcase, or for that matter, to use their talents or skills. Where classical dances based on the epics, or based on the traditions, we can organize some events which can portray, which can promote these arts and cultures, like dances, songs, bhajans. So for that also there are people who are professionals in performing these bhajans, or for classical or traditional dances. You know, so they are also required now. See how much employment is created, and how much revenue is created, and we all come together, we contribute some monetarily and in kind also, or we share efforts also. This is an opportunity. Otherwise, we are very much occupied with all these things. Our routine lifestyle, and we are always running a rat race for the money or for the status or for the position for that matter. And we finally, this is the occasions where we can relax ourselves. We get holidays, and there is a time for everyone. These occasions help us to come together and work together and enjoy together, pray together, and spend some time together. And this is also an occasion where you take priority uh, and on spiritual life. You can have some spiritual life also, for that matter, religious or spiritual life, whichever it is. Now, this is an opportunity where so many artisans, so many types of trades are involved in these festivals. Lot of charity also goes. Uh, you distribute food, you distribute daily annaprasadams to all the devotees, and you perform annadanam also. Not to just the food offerings, full-fledged meals is also offered, 2 times, 3 times, based on the financial capacity of the organizers or the contribution they collect. No, there are a lot of ill practices came in everywhere. So that, keeping that aside, because that was not there earlier, but that all depends on human personality. What kind of humans are coming together, their attitudes, and that is a different aspect altogether. But the kind they contributions they receive, based on that they organize in a grand way or accordingly. So this again, for offering so many things, you need so many procurement again. Procurement means again there is a demand, but to meet that demand there should be cultivation. So especially these days the demands go high. A lot of people want to celebrate in a very way, and this is an opportunity where they get off, so want to enjoy spending some time, want to cherish, want to with the family members, have some good savories and other sweets and other special dishes made, and also make a special time. We are very busy on other days. Generally, this time we get uh, uh, some time to be with our Almighty. That is the greatest thing we can do. We get a lot of peace of mind, and we enjoy that being having space with ourselves and with our, whom we believe is the supreme. So these entire when we see this entire thing, how these temples or religious centers have been a center for promoting education. Through education, a lot of education is required for managing temples and for administering temples, and not only that, for performing rituals and for taking care of everything. Not only temple, this Vedic or what we call this ritualistic education is imparted, but also the schools were set up, pathshalas, for that matter, for Veda pathshalas, and also the common education, formal education, informal education, where people are trained nearby, and school children, even colleges, universities are run by such NGOs, for philanthropic organizations. We can see a lot of charitable trust, especially these religious trusts. We can see a lot of educational institutions they run, and also cultural training centers and performance centers promoting these cultural and activities. So thus, not only that, lot of lands used to be there under temples, to make it sustainable, so that even if at times, there were famines like floods, where there was no, sustainable contributions, other, that kind of contribution also in those times, these were very much, helpful because of the said they sometimes organize these, rehabilitation camps, or they provide food, they arrange all those things, and many people who otherwise could not own lands or do not have employment take on lease these lands or properties, that also generates employment for them, and the uh, opportunities for self-employment or kind of employment, and at the same time it generates some revenue which can be used for education or employment or for the promotion of arts, culture, for carrying out daily rituals and all this, which is again going to the people only. This entire gamut of, entire thing is only benefiting the humans. Uh, they are generating income. It's a circular thing that goes on, and it is again benefiting the people. So different people like farmers and the tradesmen and the end users, so many activities, this entire uh, gamut, or the entire circle of this, what we call production, supply and distribution, uh, entire chain got disrupted with this disruption of temples. When temples are slowly going away, temples are being neglected, what happened automatically, these all now art forms, cultural forms, we are also slowly going off because there is no one otherwise inviting. Nowadays, present generation is almost, they are hooked up to TVs or whatnot. There's no one. Occasionally, also when someone is perform, even we can see the plight of artisans now. They are performing on roads by, especially moving house to house. It's very pathetic situation for such a culture-rich country, and our own artisans are moving like that. It's a shame for the entire nation and for all the citizens. Right? We are not able to at least accommodate them for a decent living. So these all also put, why all this has come only because the destruction of temples, or for the matter the cultural centers, the neglect of the cultural centers or education centers, because they have no places to perform now. So otherwise they could have performed every day or every week or every fortnightly there, and the people who come there to enjoy, and the temple used to give some, like gifts. They get some rice and other wheat and grains along with uh, some cash or something like this, so they could sustain themselves, they could survive themselves, and they could dedicated their lives, only for that art. They were the ones who were uh, keeping the art live, and therefore coming generations were also learning that they are not bothered, they can also earn lakhs and lakhs of rupees doing other jobs, but they valued their traditions, or they valued their art more than anything else. you know Everyone has equal opportunities to become or and high paying jobs, but they still, with that love and affection towards their own art forms or arts, they continue to stay in that, and it is our responsibility. It's not that, see, this is what nowadays we are seeing. They also leaving their forms, and arts, and many arts got disappeared now. No one is performing, no one is interested to take it up. Now a lot of diversity is lost in this process. We, as a collective responsibility, it is responsibility of ours to take care of them. Now, because we started neglecting the temples, we started, you know, the funding, the properties are being, taken away, and now temples are no longer holding huge, lands where it can give the lands to the people who do not have land, where they can cultivate, and in that way we are losing this food also, which otherwise, food items. Now they are also being commercialized. Construction is going on. So ultimately, this crop production area is decreasing. They are also not getting land income because either they are illegally occupied or they are sold off or they are no longer in position. So here the fact is like they lost their income, no? They lost their property wealth also. They lost. So in that way, these are becoming dependent from independent to dependent. Now everything needs to be funded. Everything needs money for that matter. To and if not in monetary terms, we need in uh, materials. So again, to procure materials, again we need money. Otherwise, someone has to donate everything. So it is, this is the ill effects of neglecting or not promoting or protecting our own system. You know, with this one effect, what happened is temples which were acting as a cultural center, educational center, or economy center, slowly started. All these activities are slowly becoming almost becoming disappeared. Now there are no fairs unless and until there is some occasions like festivals. Earlier they used to be daily or weekly fairs or for that matter, But nowadays, where is that option? Where you can see all these things? Hardly, you can't find anything unless and until there is special occasion. So all these employment and all these opportunities are lost. So where will this art forms get promoted? We are not going. See, there are many places, cultural centers in almost every city. How many of us are going there and supporting artists in folk arts? How many are we are going? Very less. You can see concerts with the lakhs, crores of people, but hardly, unfortunately, hardly we find some people sitting there. Only good old people. They enjoy this traditional music, Carnatic music, or Hinduism, or whatever it is. They are only going spending. Hardly we have couple of people. This way, because of this, lot of arts forms, cultural, this traditional are getting lost. Now we are not promoting, and the organizations which were promoted are not being taken care of, and they are losing. And in fact, we are losing the rich cultural diversity of the nation. No, they are losing. They also need to survive. Na? In the very first place, they are not that they want to become crorepati or millionaires or billionaires. They just want to survive so that they can continue that art form. Even that is also most pathetic situation today, is that they are also, for that survival also has become difficult for them. In spite of so many measures taken up, see the plight, I mean, how much we care for our own cultures and traditions. This is a matter of very big concern for all of us, not only for you, me, everyone. These kind of areas are still need to be looked. Why we are all talking is whether it may be a social service or whether it may be a professional social work. These are the areas where we really need to work. These are the areas we need to, as a social worker or as a social service or as a professional social worker. These are the areas, flourishing areas or popular areas will flourish without our intervention, without our support, without our guidance. They will go on. But we need to focus on what are these traditional forms or which are becoming extinct or which are really, in future generations, most of this we can see only in tape recorders or, archives. So what, as a social worker, as a social service, or as a professional social worker, we need to focus on these cultural aspects of these arts and arts forms. So we need to find ways of solutions. This is a huge gap that is existing, and we need to promote this cultural, diversity. celebration of these festivals which promote, generate different kinds of employment. Everyone is not into the same employment, right? Different people like different activities, different trades. So based on their hobbies or based on their traditional lineage or heritage, or based on their preferences or interests, based on the availability of local resources, or based on the demand and requirements. Many people take up many of uh, uh, these business activities, or for that matter, this occupation, so that this entire thing is lost. What they will do when we don't celebrate festivals. I I am saying, when we say that nowadays, there is also a huge crime. I don't know whether we are not pollution. These industries today, everyone use vehicle. At least one household have at least two vehicles now. One four-wheeler, one two-wheeler. Oh, okay, people who do not have four-wheeler, they have one additional two-wheeler. And how much pollution we are creating, how much pollution industries are creating. We are celebrating one festival and there is a huge sky everywhere that we are creating pollution, pollution, pollution. In the first place, you see the kind of pollution that these entire other things create, that is nothing. And moreover, who told you to use these pollutants in that process? We are only using, na? And this is creating an additional. Instead, what we have to do, we have to go for eco-friendly, which can be easily degraded to the environment. You can conduct all the festivals initially. See, even in the rituals, also, for that matter, we have taken this Ganesh Chaturthi as an example. We can take any festival and discuss, because it is coming up in the next month. We can generally also, in even the holy scriptures also, if you see the Sri Ganesh Chaturthi story also, it was made through atta, this. And if that, otherwise mud, we can use mud, or we can use floor, any floor for that matter. And we have to construct an idol. But what is happening now? What kind of materials are used now? Which is not at all mentioned. We are using iron, we are using plaster of Paris, we are using what not materials. Who told you to use this? Actually, it was not there initially. So this is what happened. Everyone based on their interest started a lot of practices or social evils came in between like this only. Actually, initially, all festivals are eco-friendly. All festivals are promoting lot of trade, commerce, humanity and commonality. It's giving an opportunity for everyone. But some people without a proper understanding, we all are like that. We don't know about what is festival significance, how it is contributing to the physical, emotional, social, financial, and spiritual domains of development. We think this festival is what? Prepare some sweets and put in front of God and eat them. And this is nowadays the festival has become so like this. It's like a feast day, not a festival day. It's a feast day where whatever we like, we have to prepare and we have to eat. That is a special day for eating. I mean, preparing foods, not for anything. But that is not what actually festival is. Festival should promote all the activities like culture. It should promote culture. It should promote unity in diversity. It should promote economy, because you see a lot of economic activities that will generate the income. Those who are entirely dependent on these, they will get entire years income on these 15 days or 20 days or for 1 month. How they will survive? Who are dedicated themselves on these making these idols, unless and until they sell these idols, they are not going to get their livelihood. So entire year they have to suffer. They have to live starving with hunger. So we need to promote these actually, but in an eco-friendly manner. We should not use our madness to bring all those innovations which are not at all eco-friendly, and to try preparing all this, getting into these things which will create more problem. No, absolutely, there is no pollution involved in any of the festivals unless and until we use our madness or craziness into that and try to innovate that. Otherwise, all temples in its original nature were welfare centers and promotion centers for various culture, traditions, education, and various activities. And also, festivals have been very good opportunities for fostering all these physical activity. Lot of physical activities required. We keep cleaning our houses. That health and hygiene aspect is there, and we buy new clothes and just discard these old clothes. That lot of unwanted things that goes out of our homes. That always keeps us healthy. Otherwise, these old items are unwanted. We just keep them accumulated. No? This garbage, all this lot of we don't use them and we don't move them. So lot of insects will come, stay there, and lot of negative energy also comes because we don't use that space. A lot of dust mites and all this come. It will create lot of inconvenience and lot of smell, odor, lot of bacteria breeds there. What is the use of keeping them without any purpose? Instead, we can give it off to someone who is in need, and we can dispose them so that other people can use it. You can give it for free if you are don't. Anyway, it is going to be waste for you. Or even if you want to sell it, you can sell it off. So the main point here is you keep yourself, which is constructive, productive to yourself, which contributes it. For after 10 years, if you want to use now only, if you keep some materials, maybe there like gold or other things, okay, fine. They are also treated as asset. But other furniture and other you keep for 20 years, then their life is also gone again. Unless and until it is a very good furniture or very good wood that is used with the season and all things. So we also, these festivals also promote this cleaning, health and hygiene. You take food, good nutrition food, and with healthy practices, you take bath in the early morning and you clean all the surroundings, and you put these toranams. These are all very scientific. These prevent, these cleanse the air and also prevent insects and other things coming into. So, and you put lot of these cow dung, other that is preventing. Nowadays, of course, we got all these Lysol and antibacterial, antiviral, whatnot. But even if you don't put that also as a symbol, you can put one small, you can get that. So even that on these occasions, even that can be used. Of course, there are a lot of cattle. This waste discretes are used in different purposes. Even those are used as a biogas, where we can generate gas or electricity also. Otherwise, they can be used as a manure. Ultimately, when you use them also, after that you are anyway going to dispose in soil only. So every festival, these are the things we need to understand as a social worker or as a social service. These are the areas which are untouched, by even these are not taught in colleges also, unfortunately. This is what we tell Western education, where there is no uh, uh, what we say, there is no mention about this and how to go about it. We have so much of westernized education that there is no scope for this to teach them, no scope for uh, opportunity, when there itself doesn't know that these are the opportunities where our rural population or different kind of arts can be promoted. How they will know? All with Western concepts, which are not at all, in the present context or the present, which means that this is the problem with the education models also. Nowadays, people are working on Indian models, even Indian social work, for that framework, indigenous social work, because we need to have certain things where people are relying on these uh, various systems, and we need to promote those systems. So social workers, for that matter, also see it is not the only field. There are scope of social work is very big. Where we are talking that social workers can be also working on these kind of areas where they can promote these practices, and they can promote these cultures, arts, traditions, so they have a very great role now. Go back, because nowadays people are not aware in the first place. If we would have been aware that there's so much, this what this festival brings to us, you know, through lot of these activities, lot of benefits, and it is providing livelihood to so many people and so many kind of artists. If we know that, why we will forgive that? First of all, we don't know. We think festival is just preparing some food and sitting just God before some time, and that is festival. This is what now modern days, modern generations know. Nothing beyond that. What is the historical significance, and what kind of rituals are done, why it is done. There is no science that is being taught between about them. So we need to learn initially. We need to create awareness. Maybe that also we will take it up. Maybe as part of this, whenever there is a festival, we will also try to impart what the significance of festival in a very scientific way, in a very academic way, how it is contributing to the welfare of the people, or how it is contributing to different aspects of development, for that matter, sustainable development. We can can take up such sessions before every festival, and how to procure, and how to celebrate, and how to discard, if there is something like that, how to dispose uh, with dignity, and all these things. Now even now we are celebrating har ghar mein tiranga, so now lot of flags, now yesterday we hoisted flags everywhere. Now how these flags are going to be disposed, this is going to be another great challenge for everyone. And we don't know, depending on the quality of the flags, and weather, climatic conditions, how long these flags will be there, whether will everyone be willing to take off their flag, or this entire year we got the opportunity to, even if we want also entire year, we can keep the flag on our houses. So now there is a great challenge. Now if we want to keep entire flag, now we have to keep monitoring, because we cannot display damaged flag. And wind, climate, rains, all this rainy season again. So we don't know with these winds and rains when this flag gets damaged, and we need to keep checking daily at least once. Uh, what is the condition of flag? Uh, you know, at least morning or evening, so that it can be replaced if it has to be. If it gets damaged, or the stitching also, especially the stitching goes off. These all these festivals, when we are celebrating, we have to be very cautious, especially when it has legal sanctity like this. How to dispose this, and is there any official arrangement, like, okay, not everyone can burn. I mean, of course they can burn in their homes again, that will create lot of pollution. So maybe like incinerators, or maybe some provisions, at least in one GHMC ward, or where GHMC people can with dignity can collect all those flags, from every household, and they can dispose it in a very dignified manner, because we cannot put them in water, we cannot dispose them, and in publicly also we cannot burn it. And so a lot of respect, dignity is there. Now, when we are organizing these festivals, that more than promoting that, we need to create what are do's and don'ts. Yesterday, our Virendra Kumar ji, day before yesterday, he has given so much as per the act, how we need to respect and how we need to maintain these flags. Now every household has a flag. Now, what is the mechanism through which we can collect flags? Now yesterday there was rallies. I mean, past few days there were a lot of rallies everywhere. Every locality, this Tiranga rally has been being conducted, and what is going to be? What is going to happen with all those flags? How we are going to dispose now? This is a very great concern now. It can also create pollution, because earlier it was only khadi, cotton, so it is environment friendly. Now that we have got a lot of plastic, synthetic, polyesters, and how we are going to make it eco-friendly again, the recycling process, and who is going to collect all these flags? So we need additional, human resources for that, and we need an additional vigilance also. Even if they are not disposing, if we see anywhere damaged flag or something like that, there should be some mechanism. I think the municipality people are the right persons, because they collect all the garbage every day. So they should have some bags are exclusively dedicated where if they see something, like they can inform the residents or something, and they can take off and dispose it in a proper way. Like somewhere in the flyer today I have seen these Indian oil pumps are collecting. I don't know how far it's true, but I have to verify. But just sometime before I saw that they are collecting, and the Indian oil petrol pumps. This is subject to confirmation verification. So you have to use this information with caution. I have not yet verified. Maybe I need to verify, but heard that they are collecting, and if it is in very good condition, they are preserving for the next year. Otherwise, they are disposing in a respectable, dignified manner. So all these aspects are very much important when we are organizing events or festivals. In a similar way, when we are organizing our festivals also, we should have the rules and regulations which are set by our ancestors. So we need to follow them. We can't there is a code for flag. Similarly, there is code for every festival. We can't prepare everything. Like in this context of preparing idols, we have to use mud only, which is eco-friendly, which does not create any pollution. The same mud we are taking from the land, and the same mud it goes into it, and all are natural colors, from seeds, from vegetables, from leaves, from flowers. They are all eco-friendly. They are easily decomposable, and they will also get into the land again. So there is no pollution here in the very first place, and lot of economic activity, lot of spiritual activities, lot of religious activities, a lot of getting together and cultural activities are promoted. So these festivals needs to be promoted for the promotion of well-being, health and well-being, and also towards sustainable development. The only thing is we need to change our perspective, go back to our old, which are very eco-friendly natural practices. Let's not use any pollutants or materials which can be harmful for the environment, or which can cause more pollution. So we can always make, and we need not have a huge cry where celebrating one festival is going to generate a waste. That is the greatest propaganda we can say, because there is no fact in it. Because every fact has to think about other things. Just by foregoing festival, how much we are losing. We are losing these cultural temples are lost. When temples are lost of artisans, lost of culture is lost of heritage is lost. We cannot forego for this thing, and we cannot shut down again. There are a lot of polluting, companies. They are making profits, and they are not having these effluent treatment plants, and they are not having these, they are leaving all these things. If we control that, there will be no pollution at all. And if we start using public transport system, many of us, we don't use public transport system because, these are not so accessible. every half kilometer, 1 kilometer. On the main roads only, the public transport is there, and we have to go into the lanes where that lanes also goes kilometers together, and how to reach our office or how to reach our home, and they don't come in time. Even if they come, they are not sufficient. So all these aspects are there. So even the authorities also need to consider all. We can't just say you stop using vehicle and use public transport. We need to ensure that at least to the nearest available point, public transport is available and it is accessible and affordable. Of course, when everyone starts using it, will become affordable only. But for that usage, you need to be very, you need to have more bus stops and more vehicles, with eco-friendly things which can carry more people and a very timely manner. We need to have, because different people will be commuting for different purposes, for office, for school children, for different shifts. Accordingly, we have to plan and arrange the public transport to the nearest, like not more than half kilometer, or for that meter 250 meters, uh, not more than 250 or 500 meters or 750, or for that matter 1 kilometer. It should not be more than that. We need to have every bus stop, so that it is easily accessible. And now we have employment around the year, and we need to ensure that there is security. Even if not there, we need to ensure there are CCTV cameras which are actively monitored with sensors. Whenever there is any movement in the bus stop, it should keep alerting in the control rooms that there is some activity there, so that now, even if one person is there, any other person is coming, it should give the alert so they can monitor. So even lonely women can also safely travel. When there is an automatic alert has to go on, and there should be patrol vehicles already there on the place. So, immediately they can have the footage, and nowadays we got cameras, CCTV cameras with audio also. Remotely we can send audio messages. Through that we can give an announcement that you are under surveillance, you are safe. Any, kind of anti-social or anti-legal or any activity which can cause you an offense, you will be punished or you can be sentenced, like that. People will also be safe irrespective. There is no need to face. We have seen in the nights, many bus stops have become illegal for activities, night times. you know, uh, so these all can be avoided. These all will contribute to sustainable development and reduce pollution rather than having a huge cry on festivals. You know, these all should be promoted. We need to have more bus stops, and even to interior also. So yeah, of course, there are some roads, narrow roads, or for that we need to have some smaller vehicles, battery operated vehicles, or for that solar operated vehicle, or at least from hydrogen, something which are eco-friendly, where you know you can carry on these commute this instead of having so that will also create a lot of employment. You need a lot of drivers, you need a lot of conductors. Otherwise it will create a lot of employment, and you need mechanics to maintain them, and you need more employees to generate. And we will also get away from this driving. Driving also nowadays involves a lot of risk because people lack common sense on the roads. Honking and overtaking just like that, and overspeeding. Many people's lives are lost on the roads. Roads are becoming bloodshed. Even if we ride properly, we don't know where the other person how he or she is riding, for that matter. So all these risks are there. We don't know whether if a person goes out will come safely or not. I'm not trying to create fear or something like that. No, this trying to understand the complexity of driving hours, taking a vehicle outside. Instead of that, we can use public transport where the nearest thing is there, and we can commute to the nearest office, marketplace. So one thing is that they have to reduce the gap between the stages, and they have to ensure that there is proper connectivity depending on the demand. If more demand is there, every minute bus can be there. If there is less demand, maybe appropriate time we have to see, or otherwise they have to make arrangements with the local officers wherever they are. If they are not, there is not lack of connectivity. Office timings should be fixed in such a way. Otherwise, shifts have to be arranged in such a way so that they can accommodate, or they may be provided with additional benefits so that until the next reliever comes, so they might be continuing without any loss of pay, or with by properly giving them additional thing for this, or some kind of allowance, or which can meet this or address these concerns. So these all are various practices are there which a social worker, as a social worker, we can work on these issues. But how many are really working on this? If we are really working on this, why these problems still exist? The scope of development, social worker, or for that matter, is not very limited to hospitals or communities, or for that matter, to the clinical settings or to the HR organizations. A lot can be done. Even this is also part of social work, where we can go to communities, where we can raise awareness, we can go to authorities and file alternative solutions. Because social work itself is a conglomeration of all the disciplines coming together. The training which is imparted is so much wide scope. So as a social worker, we need, as a trained social worker, as a professional social worker, we need to diversify ourselves. At least some of them can go in one field, some of them other field. Like, we can address these issues. What is actually happening? Why we are not using public transport? We need to conduct service. We need to, not as a ritual or not as a formality. No, it's not that it is not happening, but we need to see why it is making, why there was a need still now, even now, for that matter, why one has to take their vehicle. So what can be done so that this can be prevented or this can be reduced? We need to work on solutions, bring on, then automatically pollution and come down. We are also safe, Of course, we can say with the vehicle riding, we get more vehicles on road, and we can get more employment in that way. But it is creating more than employment benefits. It's creating more than pollution, And yes, employment you get temporary, but the kind of gases, the kind of pollutions it is creating, the climate change is impact. Tomorrow, maybe after 100 years, we don't know, the same situation continues, even human also become extinct. Don't know, because at the Arctic regions it is 2 degrees instead of -20. And if it goes to zero, all the oceans will melt into all the glaciers will already started melting, and they all will melt, and we see only just mountains without any glaciers, and all this water will increase. As per the recent statistics, 8 meters of sea level. We imagine 8 meters of rise in sea level, all the coastal areas will be submerged. And see what kind of crisis it is going to create. And fresh water, which are in the forms of glaciers, is lost now. Entire water we are polluted. Oceans and rivers, bodies, all are become dump yards. And where will you get this pure water? These Ganges, all these life rivers, Ganga, Brahmaputra, all these are from glaciers only. We get a lot of pure water from there, so that we are drinking. Otherwise, what will happen? We have to purify everything. Like, for water also we need to spend. Nowadays, people are buying this bottled water for minimum is 20 rupees, and very good, depending on the quality. It goes up to 200 rupees for 20 liters. So, and how people can afford, each person has to consume at least 5 liters per day. Then how much he has to spend for 4 say suppose 20 rupees also, that is very much less also. Just compare 20 liters for one bubble. And if one family of 4 members consume every day 20 rupees, or for that matter, count it as 200, every day 200 rupees, how much they have to earn? And now, only this is just for water. What about other things? And how much they are earning? What is their savings? This is kind of impact, long-term impact that is being created by the pollution. If you think in that manner, today for short-term benefits, we are doing so many economical activities because of which we are creating long-term problems. So when we start using public transport, again here, public transport has to be improved. So we need to focus on that, creating advocacy and creating awareness among the people. First, availability. First thing is, they have to um, procure more buses and make efficient systems, efficient timings, and they need to coordinate with the private and public offices and accordingly consult them with their thing, and people also, public also accordingly change the timings wherever required to avoid unnecessary, this thing. They can at least half an hour or 1 hour to school timings can be avoided for offices, where first school can be kept so that parents who are going to offices, they can drop their children in the school in the same public transport, and they can again take, if required, the public transport system to go to office. And even leaving children also should be accordingly planned. If it is not possible for such a duration, then alternative arrangements have to be done. Or even for that matter, if public system is made secure, for that matter, children can also happily come. There is no, if all the public transport system has CCTV cameras, even from bus stop to bus stop, we know that when child has boarded one bus and he has got down onto the destination bus stop, everything is being tracked. The child is safe, and from bus stop we need to have community CCTVs where we can see that the child is coming to home safely. We can observe. So anyway, we have these nowadays mobiles are there everywhere, even with the small kids. So we can have arrangements at the schools where they need not allow inside. At least they can keep outside in a safe custody or some lockers, where they can keep the mobiles, and we can switch on the location tracking where we can track the child. So safely, securely, the child can use public transport. No need to worry. The child will be safe. He can board the bus, or we can give some additional responsibility or assign a person for that matter, or a teacher, where daily on rotation basis, or a dedicated person where he can take all the children to respective place and make a child board the bus, and someone can take responsibility. And children are nowadays very smart. They can get down this, or if there is some identification tag source to destination, even driver for that matter, the conductor can also guide. And anyway, he or she is going to make an announcement. Even nowadays, modern buses are equipped with these announcement systems, notification systems. It also alerts them once the stop reaches, so they can get down safely. See, by improving one just public system, lot of systems will go away, which are creating population. We have to ensure that adequate public, vehicles should be there, and adequate public, these bus stops are available, and adequate monitoring system is there, which is alert and active. We have monitoring system, but that CCTV doesn't work. And even if it works also, if something is happening also, no one even cares to bother. There should be some alert system, like, in banks, there are some alert system where it is directly connected to the police stations or control room. Similarly, every bus stop needs to be connected to a control room, to the concerned transport authority, as well as the district collector office, and as well as, police department, or connected every local, whichever jurisdiction it is happening, they can connect to the centralized control room as well as to the nearest police station, so that whenever there is an alert, they can reach in no time. So all this can be done. These social worker has a lot of scope, here also to improve the livelihood, improve, reduce the pollution, and also increase the, you know, the livelihoods, and also different occupations are set, or even for that matter, unemployed people also get employment now here. Though the drivers are also not left idle. When you use more public transport, there also we need drivers, there also we need cleaners, mechanics, and conductors. Lot more people will get employed, and for those who we think that they will lose employment, we can use that bus stop. No, every bus stop can have one in charge, and he can be given responsibilities like taking care of passengers for their inquiries, or for that matter, nowadays a lot of people are facing this change issue also in buses. Now, instead of that, we can have ticket counter in the bus stop itself, so that they can take wherever they are going. In that way, you can reduce the delay also. Sometimes, this conductor stops the buses in the middle of the road or side of the road, and they keep issuing tickets. Now, this can be reduced. You can issue the ticket also and guide the passenger and appropriately board, so that this ticket, conductor time is also reduced. He can just limit himself to issue of limited tickets and monitoring of whether the passengers are really bought. And we are getting more innovations also nowadays, smart cards or access cards that can also be used to reduce this paper money also, for that matter. And issuing these tickets also, lot of paper is required. Again, lot of trees needs to be cut. So we need to have some digital reusable cards, that might be plastic, but it should be used in such a way that at least it can be used for 1 year or 5 years or 10 years. I mean, a good amount of plastic which can be reused. This will reduce, or maybe some other material which is eco-friendly, which can be used for recharging, and that by paying cash or online. This will also create a lot of employment opportunities. We need people to manage. No, computers, they themselves will not manage. We need these payment systems. We need people working in the background on systems and lot. So this is the kind of approach we need to have, basically, for sustainable development, eco-friendly, environment-friendly practices. We need to show alternative. Yes, this is alternative, then definitely we will leave our vehicles at our homes, and we'll be very happy to take the public transport. We will feel safe, and we will also save money. Now, petrol, what is the cost? Now, if we use that, now we all are using metros, fast to communicate fastly, but most of the metros are running into losses now again. Of course, that is impact of COVID, because almost 2 years they have zero revenue, so they need to pay, and all these things were there. That is a different thing. But they can have, at least they can have metro also, not even buses also for that thing. They have metro to every road or at every city, but again, that is a very costly. We cannot afford the metro every place. So we need to go for innovation in that technology also, because that's a very costly technology. So what is an alternative technology? Maybe we can have these local trains, or even that local train also, we cannot put every local train to every lane. So we need to have this bus transport systems, road, rail, air, all, sea, water, or whatever it is, all should be properly connected. That is where, see, once we get down from the railway station or the airport, we need to immediately, like we see Delhi or some places, Delhi, we can see that it is directly, this metro is directly goes to the airport. A near connectivity, and connects to the railway station. There is no need of, this interconnectivity is very important. Once you get down from your metro, or from your metro, immediately there should be a bus stop there. See, even in many cities, I see some bus stop is somewhere, this metro station is somewhere. We need to walk here and there lot of problem is created. It should not be in that way. So these social workers also need to focus on these social problems, ensuring that every exit and entry point is okay for the convenience, that two can be two uh, occupied with this, that can cause also inconvenience, but we need to have at least some distance, no, at least in that sake you can have some 100 meters, 150 meters away, so that that crowd doesn't know, come together so much. So it is not overcrowded for that matter. So we need to come up with these innovative ideas, or maybe sustainable ideas where these can be promoted. These are all why we are all talking about this, improving the livelihood, and which are contributing to sustainable development. And when we are talking about pollution, when automatically pollution comes down, there is no cry that that more pollution. And anyway, it is not at all related to the festivals. They are anyway eco-friendly. So these are the various, the scope of social work. That, of course, we did not discuss what is social work in the very first place, but I am telling in a general context, as a common man, if I think social worker is a person who works on these social problems, then he is a person who can work on this. But how many people are working? How many even professional workers, for that matter, are working on these things? If at all they are working, what kind of change they have brought? I see very less people. Even I am not aware that any social worker is there in any public transport system. So this is a new avenue. I never thought also, for that matter. Now only I got this, spontaneously. But even in my so many years of experience also, and I never thought of this. I mean, in the context of having a social work. Of course, we at a customer care or at a grievances, we are in the welfare also, for that matter, in transport also, in welfare, we recommended this, but these extended activities, even we were also, maybe it might got unthought, but I feel that something, this is a very scope, scope of social work where they can effectively play a role. In fact, one of our student also studied on these RTC drivers, and we did some studies also. It's not that we are not working on that. We did some studies about drivers and their families. These studies as part of their projects. They had gone there and they did their projects, and they did their data collection. So all these are there. So sorry, we are already exceeded 1 hour. Okay. Didn't see the time. Okay, sorry for that. Apologize. So we'll conclude it here. Maybe in coming week we'll see. We'll be more interactive. You can also come with solutions. We'll take it up social work this entire week. We'll be discussing on. We'll come with the solutions. Actually, we'll discuss problems and we'll try to see how it can be solved, along with some theoretical, knowledge about social work. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining us. I will be sharing the feedback link in chat box. Quickly fill up the feedback form. I think you all are also immersed in the topic. Forgot to remind me also. Anyway. Yeah, feedback link has been shared in the chat box. So quickly fill up the feedback form. These are all the areas where social workers can actively play a role. Maybe there are even in festivals also for that, lot of things. So it's very nice. So we need to explore how best we can use the human resources, for that matter, social workers in each and every field. and so that social work can be effectively taken up by all the social workers, or even for that matter, many social workers or for the matter, trained professional social workers are also having struggle in getting employed. So though there is a huge opportunity for them, but they are not also very flexible in terms of exploring new avenues. At times, that rigidity or the traditional closed specializations, very limited specializations we have. Mostly, I think, some limited, some 10 to 15 specializations across the nation. So that is also limiting, I think, the scope. The common being the community development, rural tribal development, and human resource management, and the clinical psychiatric, medical psychiatric social work, or medical social work, psychiatric social work, and the these criminologies, criminal settings, correctional settings, very limited specialized. I think we community settings is there, but that is a very broad in its sense. I mean, anything in community generally goes into that. So we have school social work is there, social work is there. Again, school social work is also very limited. So we need to have these all different kinds of avenues open so that it will generate more scope for social workers for employment, practice, and also profession. So quickly fill up the feedback form. I'm just trying to keep you engaged while you are filling up the feedback form. So thank you once again, everyone, for joining us. See you all tomorrow. Tomorrow we will start at 6:30 tomorrow. So join by 6:30, or for that matter, we can, yeah, by 6:30 we can start. So see you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night. Quickly open the feedback form and fill it. So thank you once again for joining us. See you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night. Once after filling it, you can leave the webinar so that I will also know you have filled the